Paul, I hope now is a good time for us to offset as per your guidelines. 1 minute left. 1 minute left. Someone saying here 1 minute left. Okay. A warm welcome, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Please don't sleep yet, so I can't say good night, but it's lovely to have you again. We've made a lot of strides. It's week 7 now, over week 8, I think. So, with your very kind permission, I request to share my screen to aid the conversation better. Paul, are you able to see my screen, please? What do you see on your end? Okay. Thank you. So this is our area of focus today. You recall when I was introducing this course, I did mention that it is in 3 chunks, 3 broad chunks. The first chunk is on the communication skills, which we covered in the first 4 weeks. The second chunk is in the learning skills, which we are starting. And then the 2, communication skills and learning skills, should enable you to be employable. And so we are working on them fusely together because they are in many ways mutually exclusive. They complement each other. Under learning to learn, I'll cover 2 catchment areas, the mindset and the mind shift, because they help us in learning. And the whole learning experience pretty much starts somewhere in an interesting place called your mind. So I would like for you to open up your mind starting from this point and think about these 2 images. That image of the human brain that has a padlock, then that image of the human brain that has a tree, a plant, a growing plant. Think about the 2 of them and share your thoughts. When you look at the image with a padlock, what comes to your mind? What about the one with a tree or a plant that is growing? What comes to your mind? I would like to hear your thoughts, please. Yes, please come here so that our friends online can hear.
This guy, the guy with a padlock on his head, that's a fixed mindset. The guy with a padlock on his head, that's a fixed mindset, and in that mindset, this person is indoctrinated. Like they seem to be a kind of people with a characteristic that dismisses facts, and they're not willing to change their beliefs on something. So their mind is locked in on what they know. Yeah. Now, this fixed mindset is a kind of mindset where it's a belief that intelligence and ability, these are traits that that are unchangeable, or someone is born with. They can't deviate. If I find someone who's intelligent, that person is actually intelligent. If I find someone who's dull, that person cannot improve their understanding. This is a person with a fixed mindset, in my understanding. And someone who has a growth mindset, I believe that this is a person. A growth mindset is the belief that intelligence, abilities, skills can be acquired with learning over time. Those are the kids in mind. person with a fixed mindset, what I know is that such a group of people, or such a person would believe that his or her intelligence or skills are unchangeable in one way or the other. And what I know about such a category of people, that in most cases, such people they mostly stick to what they know. Yes, and they are actually incapable of learning new skills. Then, such people are also, actually, that's what I particularly know about people with a fixed mindset. Actually, another thing, these people are actually resistant to change. Yes, that's what I have to say. Thank you very much.
Nothing about the growth.
No.
Thank you, sir. Yes, please.
Good morning, everyone. We are going to talk about both fixed mindset and then the growth mindset. In most cases, fixed mindset, these are like, okay, these are category of people that have their brains are based on what they know. And in most cases, they take their own ideas as being the best, and they can't be advised. When you try to give them the advice, they may give it a deaf ear. For them, regarding on what they know, they think they are on the rightful side. Based on no matter the context or the concept, they always consider themselves rightful, and they don't take others' advice. Meanwhile, the growth mindset, this category of people, in most cases, they believe that life it's about learning. Each and every day, new things come, new idea comes, and once they are advised, they can easily change based on the context of whatever it's going on. Take, for example, maybe there is a development program going on in the community. These people with fixed mindset, be it like an industrial revolution, like whereby people are having a proposal of maybe let's set up industries here. We are going to put some on our own. Some portion of the land will be given out to the investors. These ones of fixed mindset, they won't tolerate. They will be like, these are our grazing land. We cannot allow that. We cannot allow foreigners to come and make us be what? Be quarters of our land. They don't allow progress at all. Meanwhile, the one of what? Of growth mindset, they will say, this will be a very good idea. We are going to benefit. Our children will be employed there, and in due course, we shall develop as a community. Thank you. Allow me to submit.
I'm just carrying my phone for my safety. Good morning, everyone. Inspires here. So I think the images explain a lot, because when you say fixed mindset, a mind with a padlock on it, what comes into your mind? Yes, this is someone who. What is something fixed? Something fixed is something immovable, like that pillar. Yes, it takes a lot. You may even need a grader to break it down. So indirectly, these are people when they have put their mind that this is it. Yes, that even if I put so much effort in this, it won't work out. Yes, they have closed that what? So they feel like no matter the effort, changes are not going to be fruitful. Yes, these are people whose minds are locked onto certain beliefs, as he has said. Yes, certain character that the moment I see someone in a veil, that is a terrorist. You get it? No matter what you try, the mindset is what? Fixed. When you look this side of growth mindset, yes, these people embrace challenges. Yes,
they embrace effort, that they know that it doesn't stop there where they are. There's a lot to be gained. Yes, that I can look out, Ryan can help. Hey, but now in a fixed mindset, be like, even if Ryan comes and helps me, nothing will change. I'll still get a retake. Fixed what? I think that is a shortfall.
Mr. Sozi, do we have any submissions online? Our physical participants have shared their thoughts. Do we have any online? Yes, Mr. Hudson.
People with negative mindset, they are normally locked in their thoughts. They are unwilling to learn new ideas. When opportunity comes to them, they are never willing to adopt. However, when we consider positive mindsets, they are always vigor and curious to challenge their status quo. So they are normally positive in the way they think, and they normally succeed very fast. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Hudson. Is that all, Mr. Sozi? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sozi, for that submission, and Hudson. I think the attributes we all have that we've thought about the fixed mindset and the growth mindset are common. I was hoping someone would talk about that ladder in between the two mindsets. But really, what that means, the opportunity for us to grow and move higher up that ladder is solely dependent on our mindset. And interestingly, we have the utmost power, authority, and everything that it takes for us to progress either upward or maintain the same level or move downward on that ladder. The analogy of the tree inside the growth mindset can be like an actual tree, the tree you see anywhere in a garden. The depth with which you take care of this tree is what will show you how much, in terms of fruition, you will get and the productivity of that tree. Once you plant a seed in the ground, you will not expect the fruit to be there the next day. It takes time. Likewise, learning takes time. You start the journey today, it's unrealistic for you to expect to thrive the next day. Give yourself 5 years, 10 years, and then you will actually see some commendable results. Also, the analogy of the tree means, how are you taking care of this tree? There are certain things that you're going to expose this tree to so that it can give you the results that you would like. Take an example, give it some manure, prune it every once in a while. Along the way, if you discover there are weeds around the tree, you uproot them. If you notice that it's too exposed to the sunlight, you shield it a little by giving it some bits of shade. If you notice it's overly clogged with water, then you find alternative ways for it to drain out the water and not get overly soaked with the water. If It's crowded with other trees around it, reduce the number of trees around it so that it can thrive better. In other words, you create an enabling environment for this tree to give you results. And in fact, over time, you will notice changes in the tree. It gets bigger, it gets more energetic, it looks more green. In some instances, it can put flowers, and then later, much later, it will give you fruits. If you continue to take care of that tree well, even after 20 years, it can continue to give you fruits. Think of that analogy exactly like our learning experiences. That's how we learn. And so, as I introduce this theme on the mindset, I would like for us to follow this roadmap. So this is the mind map I would like you to embrace. The idea of lifelong learning. Kindly do not restrict it to academic endeavors because it can move to any facet of your daily living, in your leadership, as a parent, as a child, as a spouse, as a business owner, as a medical practitioner, as someone in the movie industry, any facet of life really, there are things you need to learn. Then the idea of your own desire for wanting to learn. Earlier this week, I was having a debate with some of the students from LLM, and I was asking them the question, our current circumstances in the 21st century evolve all the time. And so, as someone in the legal fraternity, what's your preference? Is it education or is it money? What would enable you to thrive in the 21st century right now? Is it money or is it education? What's your answer to that? What's your response? Yes, please.
According to me, I think it's education.
It's education and not money.
When I study today, I'm actually building on what I have tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a rightful day, though I may not see it at this rightful moment. It will take some time. Then after that, I will get paid of what was actually going.
Okay. So
But
you would.
then on the other side of money,
You can't choose both.
it's something.
Huh. You can't choose. You know, it's like saying I want my wife but I don't want her. So what's that? You can't eat your cake and have it at the same time. Yeah, it's either education or it's money. So for my brother, it's education. Anyone with a preference for money? Money? Okay. Why is your preference with money? Why would you pick money over education? You can find knowledge if you have money. You can buy knowledge if you have money. Are you saying you can't use your education to get money?
That route is hard.
It's a very long route. Yes.
You see, the reason I would choose money is let's look at all the current very rich people. Yes? The richer you get, the more you will pick bright minds to make you more money. Yes? Yes. So if I was to get that money, it depends on the level of education you're talking about. If you're meaning zero education, that's also difficult. But if it's at the level I am right now, to get out there and leave school, we are getting out. Professor,
zero level education gives some. If you have a growth mindset, you learn. You learn a skill.
that word,
Yes.
growth mindset.
So are you for education or for money? Oh, okay. Money. Yes, sir.
I need reason being, all the things we talked about, like how to buy knowledge. Actually, you need to learn how to buy knowledge. Yes, you need to learn how to buy knowledge. So, first, education involves
interesting debate. I think we will engage with it a little more extensively. When we are talking about critical thinking in week 9, it will come in more strongly. But really, where I was driving at is that you have to have a strong desire for wanting to learn. In any endeavor, you start with your objective. What is your ulterior motive? What is that strong desire that makes you do certain uncomfortable things? But that's the only way you're going to thrive. For the course of preference that you've chosen, is it that you were bored at your home? You said, well, let me just go and spend a bit of time at Cavendish, you know, is it that you had money lying around and you needed to invest it? So you thought, well, why not invest in this course? Is it that you were looking for friends? Again, one of my LLM students told me, you see, in my community, your level of education is very important for you to identify a good spouse. So part of why I'm here is to get us a good spouse, which is a valid reason, really. But I don't think that should be the number one motive for you being in school. Are you here to get a spouse? But actually, your spouse could be in this class. So please be observant, look around. Your spouse could be here. But you really have to have a strong desire for wanting to learn. Finally, the developing of the habit of reading. Since time immemorial, the old adage, which has stopped being a joke, that should you have any solution for an African, hide it in a book. Is it true that Africans actually do not read? Is it something that we've accepted as a continent that on us, on the African continent, we don't read? We wait for other people to read for us and then tell us what they have read. Is that the direction we are taking? But this Professor Olubai has given us a step-by-step guide on how to enjoy the reading experience so that it doesn't seem like you're on punishment, you're on gunpoint. Oh my God, I'm only reading because I have exams next week. After next week, Fuchs, I will relax. No, it shouldn't really take that direction. It should be something that you do naturally. The way you enjoy to eat good food should be the same way you enjoy to read a book, a good book. So this is the roadmap we are going to follow. To open up our minds further, we are referring to this amazing lady. She's called Carol Dweck, Professor Carol Dweck. She was the very first proponent of the psychology of success, starting in your mind. Turns out, God has given us one of the most amazing gifts ever. The human body has very many parts and they all play very different roles. They are important, but turns out your mind plays very pivotal roles in the direction of your life. And that's why you have the utmost power and authority to lead your life the way you want it. You start by where you want to go, and then you put certain strategies in place to eventually get there. So, in coining the mindset, Carol Dweck really spread it out to different facets of life, whether in business, in leadership, in entrepreneurship, in procurement, any facet of life really. She said the mindset can actually help you to thrive in that whatever facet of life it is. From all her findings, I picked out this demo. I think it talks about the mindset really well. And because we are as many human beings on the Mother Earth, I'm sure everybody has their own individualized understanding of the mindset. Could be that it's for you to be optimistic, to have a strong positive attitude, to put your mind to work, to improve daily, to have a big dream, to change, to encourage yourself. All these different facets feed into that mental faculty to build your mindset. But you notice these attributes mentioned here are not handed to you on a silver platter. Think about an average parent from any ordinary household. When two parents are expecting a child and they go to the hospital, I'm not aware of any doctor that will give you a bright child, a brilliant child, an optimistic child, an encourageable child. Usually, your doctor will give you a baby boy or a baby girl, and then you will go home. Whatever you do to that child will enable that child to become everything that you want it to become, including some of these things. In other words, no one is born with that growth mindset. It's something that you grow over time. So, to illustrate the mindset further, what are some of the action points we could consider together? I request that we focus more on the growth mindset because the fixed mindset is not where we want to go. You notice there's not a lot of action going on with the fixed mindset. It's like a blank canvas, more like a wall. Unless you paint something on this wall, it will remain in this color for nearly decades. Maybe it will faint a little bit and it will become a bit scratchy. But even after 10 years, you will come back and find this wall exactly like this. But should you add a bit of adjustments, the wall is likely to change. The human mind also happens exactly like that. And turns out all the different things we are exposed to give us a trigger towards growing our mindset. Let's start with challenges. Life as it is never devoid of challenges. We constantly have things, issues, obstacles, problems, things that we have to deal with. There's nothing you can do about it. It's just perhaps one of the gifts given to us by God. I don't think there is a time when you're happy in your family, with your siblings, with your spouse, your children are healthy, you're making a lot of crazy money, you're loved by your community, in school you're excelling. If you are a business owner, things are moving progressively. One facet of your life has to struggle. At least one facet of your life has to struggle. If you're doing well with your spouse, your boss is going to tell you you're usually late because you're always taking your spouse out to expensive places, going for vacations abroad and whatnot. And so you're not delivering results for your boss. That's already is the start of your challenges. If you're performing really well at work, you're meeting your targets, you're meeting deadlines, you're able to excel and thrive, top 3 performers in your company, your wife is going to start to complain and say things like, are you married to your boss? Why are you constantly spending time in your office? We need you at home. Your children need to be more attached to you and things of the like, so your marriage will struggle. Nonetheless, you can be able to balance those challenges and continue to push forward. In our academic life, good grades are not handed to you. No one hands you a transcript with a 4.5 CGPA. You work towards it, meaning you spend endless amounts of time in the library, you invest time to read and discuss with your friends, you go and do a bit of research online, you watch meaningful videos. All that clasped together enables you to thrive and then get the CGPA that you want. For foreign students, this is a bit harder. Staying away from your family, from your country, sometimes you even have to learn a different language from your own mother language, your mother tongue. You have to adjust a little to different food types, which sometimes you don't like too much, but that's the situation. The weather could be different, the people could be different, they dress a little different, their behavior is a bit different. So many challenges you will experience, but perhaps that also can be an opportunity. You know, you find that the medium of instruction at Cavendish is English, but you're from a French background. What that means, you need to put a lot of effort to learn English so that you can learn the materials. Now that means at least you have the advantage of speaking two international languages, French and English. So that's an opportunity from a challenge, and so on. Weaknesses are the one thing we also cannot do away with. just now, no, earlier today, when we came at 10, Mr. Soze said, no, let's wait for 10:15 because some people know the session starts at 10:15. But was everybody online by 10:15? I don't think so. Maybe our weakness is keeping time, managing time effectively. The session starts at 10 and you're waking up at 10. Uh-huh. Are you sure you're going to get positive results from whatever endeavor it is? You have an appointment with someone, um, and they communicate at least a week in advance. They even remind you 2 weeks, two days to the D-Day. On that same day, they remind you 2 hours early that we have an appointment at 10. Please don't forget. This person waits for you at 10 and you show up at 12. What do you want me to think? Already that's a spark. If it's a relationship, it might never work out. So we do have weaknesses, that's granted, but what can we do about them? There's usually an alternative way. If you're not good at managing time, perhaps it's because you sleep really late, so by morning you still want to sleep. Maybe cut out on some of the things you do before you sleep because they deny you sleeping early. If you spend a lot of time online between 10 and midnight, maybe cut those off a little bit and install some apps so that you get the opportunity to rest. By morning, you feel like you've rested enough and you can get up and go run your normal routine. Criticism is also quite important on our learning journeys. Most of it is not very positive because we really want to point out the areas where you need to improve, polish out the rough edges. And, and so every time criticism is given to you, use it as an opportunity to go back and think, okay, if I'm struggling in this area, what can I do about it? Is there someone that can support me? Maybe I can contact them and meet them up and they tell me how did they move past those challenges if they had them. This morning I had an interesting example. Someone was sharing that they had a close friend who was struggling with an addiction and they had a similar addiction, but they had been supported. So he referred the friend to a practitioner who is an expert in addiction prevention, management, strategies, and so on. And over time, it took about 8 months, and so the addiction is no more. So that was a weakness. It came from, a criticism. This person identified it and pointed it out and said, no, but I know a solution. I know what you can do to deal with that issue. Pius just talked about intelligence and talent. These are the things we tend to recognize very quickly, but we very rarely recognize that it's something that is grown and harnessed over time. Think about a famous athlete, a sports person, a writer, a movie director, someone who has excelled in any field. Those people were not born that way. Maybe let's focus on sports people. For someone to thrive and become a top scorer, I don't think they were born a top scorer. It's something that they have improved over the years. In fact, you might be so prolific at playing that sport, and in 2025, you are a top scorer. But come 2026, you may not be the top scorer. Someone else will have taken on from you. So even when it's highly competitive, it means sportsmen put in a lot of work. Behind the scenes, we may not notice how much effort these people put. I'm sure every sports person who has excelled in that industry has a coach. Am I lying? These people have coaches to monitor every single thing that they do. In fact, to the smallest details, all the way to what they eat, all the way to where they go, what time they wake up, what they do when they wake up. In fact, a lot of them have a nutritionist and a dietitian who dictates what you eat. You might have a lot of money and you're entitled to eat anything that you want, but you're restricted. Why? Your body has to look a certain way for you to continue to be a top scorer. Now, as the rest of you are busy going to all these fast food restaurants and eating burgers, French fries, chicken, I don't know, all these high fat concentrated foods, sportsmen don't have that luxury. The one time they get to do that, there's a penalty. Your coach will ask you, why did you eat three French fries? That is too much for your body. Therefore, you have to swim 100 laps today to break down that carb. You can't take a lot of sugar, caffeinated drinks, I don't know what not, all these high cholesterol foods, all those are out of your diet because you have to maintain a certain standard to be a top scorer. As people who enjoy sports, I'm sure you can even go to extra lengths to buy a ticket, fly all the way to Qatar, sit in that stadium and enjoy the sport. And then you have the audacity to make comments like, oh my God, you had an opportunity to score. Uh-huh. If we put you in that position, will you score? You're investing. So as the investor, they have to do what you want. Well, being a sports person is not an easy thing. It takes a lot of back behind the scenes work. Yes. Well, um, that's about talent. It's not handed to you. You work towards it. And to continue to thrive, it means you continue working hard at it. Same thing as intelligence. You know, any kind of investment of time, of resources, of meaningful friends, minimizing a certain circle of influence for you to acquire intelligence means also intelligence is not handed to you. On the contrary, you might even lose it. I have experience with students who have very good grades coming from high school. When they are joining the university, they have high scores. But by the end of the 3-year program or 4-year program, they can barely even have a pass degree. And you're wondering what happened along the way. You had really amazing grades from high school coming to the university. But coming out of the university, we don't even recognize you. What happened? It means your intelligence faded, you stopped doing certain things you were doing in high school. And then, on the other side of the spectrum, there are students who may come in from high school with negligible results, they're not so good, but when they come to the university, they give it their best. And at the end of the 4-year program, they have a very high score. In fact, they are sought after by the industry and they are placed very easily. Reason being, they harnessed on their intelligence and they grew it over those 4 years of their academic endeavor. Okay. Prioritizing learning over seeking approval, and this one is tied to the process as opposed to the end product. Obviously, as human beings, we like to be reinforced and being given flowery language. You're doing so well, well done, congratulations. It's natural that we love this positive acclaim. But every once in a while, if that doesn't come, learn to give yourself positive feedback, reinforce yourself. Because you might not get it from the people around you. Unfortunately, sometimes you find that the people we love the most are the people who are going to disappoint us the most. Are you aware? But why? I'm not sure I have the answer, but it tends to happen. And because it does, the one person who should be your biggest supporter is yourself. Don't wait for approval to come from people around you. Approve yourself, affirm yourself, reinforce yourself, give yourself positive feedback. Now, the idea of it being a process, and therefore you shouldn't focus on the final product. As students, we are very quick to think about the day we graduate, which is absolutely okay. I have no problem with that. But you see, the end result on the day of your graduation is important. But there are so many things you've been doing leading to that final day when you graduate. We pay a lot of attention to the graduation day. You take pictures, you have expensive dinners, you invite people that you love, you even hang your transcript on the wall if you feel the need to do so, and you're super excited, and that's absolutely okay. But then the focus really should be on your daily input, the amount of time you invest every day, every week, every month, every semester, building onto the 4-year duration to the graduation day. In fact, we will know if you paid a lot of attention during that time based on the final result. And the reverse can be true. If you didn't pay a lot of attention during the process, the final result will also show you. It's like pregnancy for women. The doctor will guide you to do certain things, but they will not force you. They'll tell you to rest enough, take a lot of water, take a lot of fruit, take more vegetables, hang around positive people, read good literature to reinforce you, stay away from smoking, addictions. And in the end, they'll tell you, if you don't do all those things, we shall know from the product, the baby that you will have. If you did the right things, it will be the right, healthy, bouncy baby. And if you didn't do the right things, it will be a sick child. Maybe it could potentially even die before you deliver it. Okay, so focus on the process. Inspiration of the success of others. It is true that we look at these people who have thrived in different fields and we tend to think that they were born lucky. No, they did not get born lucky. They worked hard at it. They put effort. And so I'm hesitant. In fact, in some cultures, I'll talk about Uganda, people will start to think that you thrive because you are a witch, you're involved in sorcery, or I don't know, evil dealings and whatnot. Oh, but now, I worked hard for my wealth, for my success. Why are you attaching it to the devil? Can't I get it through the proper channels of hard work and resilience and dedication and so on? Must it be the negative channel? And I think this is very common. I'm not sure about other African countries, but in Uganda, any small step you make ahead, no. We need to investigate this person. They must be in some kind of witch-related issue. They must be a devil worshipper. They must be, I don't know. There's some negativity around success. Is it the same in your country? It's only in Uganda. You're not telling the truth, but moving on. Learning should be an endeavor of training the brain, and the human brain is like a muscle which you can expand and move in any way that you want. I learned very recently from a friend who is a gym instructor that when clients come to him, they mention what part of the body they want to work on. None of them actually talks about the head. That I'm here to the gym to work on my head, to exercise my head. Interestingly, we exercise other parts of the body. Your triceps, biceps, your back, your stomach, any part of the body. But the brain works very well with other parts of the body. So whichever part of the body you want to exercise, you trigger your mind. Welcome, sir. Stop staring like a clown. Sorry. Okay. Let's wait for our friend to sit, otherwise he might drop and fall. And it's all our fault. See how he's walking. Very interesting. Yeah, I know. Very relaxed. 1 hour later. Okay. Failing is part of the learning process. You're not going to thrive all the way. to the finish line. Sometimes things will not go well, so you will fail. And you will fail for different reasons. I've had experiences where a student really put in a lot of effort. They spent endless amounts of time reading, discussing, but the exam doesn't come so well. The result is a failed one. And so times like that will happen, but it's not a reason for you to give up. Rather, it means go back to the drawing board. What can you do differently? That one is not so far from setbacks. Okay, so I've spent a lot of time on this slide because it really speaks the biggest volumes about the mindset, particularly the growth mindset, and the call to action. What should we do? Now, these are some reinforcements you can consider giving yourself, that it's a journey and you can do it, you can keep growing, you can keep learning something new every day, that you can keep trying, you can expose yourself to learning opportunities, and so on. Okay, now for this next slide, I've randomly picked out some of these people. I consider them 21st century mindset gurus, but there are certain unique qualities for each of these individuals. Some of these faces are familiar. They are internationally recognized personalities. So I invite you to look at these people. Pick out the person that speaks volumes to you. What do you know about this person? Which industry have they thrived in? What is it that they have done as part of their contribution? Yes, I invite you to share your thoughts, please. Mr. Sozi, do we have any submissions online? Maybe we start with you, then we come to the physical participants. Paul, have we lost connection? So our friends online cannot recognize anyone in this slide. Okay, you can, maybe we give you some more time to think, then we get submissions online. I mean, from the physical participants, is that okay? Anyone, please come. Yes, tell us about what you know of that person. What have they, which area have they thrived in?
So, well, I'm back. Now, starting with Steve Jobs, iPhone. Yes, he's the head of the Apple company. He was the head of the Apple company until he passed on in 2013, 2012. Passed on, but greatest invention, the iPhone. Then Bolt, 9.58, fastest time to date, 100 meters. Einstein, those who love physics, he's there, almost king. Oprah Winfrey, the ladies in the house. Yes, amazing businesswoman. Beyonce, talent, singing, dancing, name it. Stage performance, very good. Eddie Murphy, talent. If you've watched Coming to America 1 and 2, he played about 5 roles, one man. Really good. Then Aliko Dangote. Dangote doesn't get any better in Africa. I'll stop there.
I seen this one. Yes, I know. Now, this one, Oprah Winfrey, that's the first billionaire woman to get her wealth by working for it, but not out of divorce. Simwe. Now, this is Beyonce. You all know her. Calls herself Queen, whatever. But she's a good artist, a good musician, and all that. The professor, should I explain in the perspective of their success, victories, or just as entities, just like us, think about us as people? No, as their achievements or their achievements. Or Beyonce has something about 32 Grammys. Einstein, the guy with a 162 IQ, at that time it was that big. He discovered a lot of stuff. This Einstein guy is a genius. Yeah, he discovered the theory of relativity, but you guys have not yet understood it. You have not yet interpreted what he saw. I explained the theory of relativity. You will not understand it because it has not been scientifically proven yet. That none, the professor will, that one. In a veil. Now this is a Muslim woman. Mulinde. Later, you first wait. Now this Muslim woman, that one professor will do what? And professor has brought us, we explained the ones we know, right? Yes. Now this guy, there's Dangote here. Now I'm not explaining. The guy is online now, even confused what's going on. Because I'm talking to someone in the background, they cannot hear that person. Online people are listening. This guy here with specs on, that's Dangote. The guy with the oil refinery in Nigeria. With a net worth of $20 billion. This guy is really rich. If you know him, that's good for you. Which other guy? Bolt, that one fastest guy last time. But we have now a guy who's the dude guy, who's a bit faster. You know him? That guy who can split in, I don't know, microseconds. Then this Steve Jobs guy, that guy probably explained him. He's the one who made this iPhone thinking. Katubitegede, mabali online.
Actually, I want to talk about Eddie Murphy in particular. So, most of us know that guy, Eddie Murphy. So, he started actually, he got a breakthrough in his career. It was 1980 when he was in the film industry, and he was also a comedian. So, during his time, he also inspired a generation of black comedians. When you look at that film industry, most movies they make, they actually have comedians who are black. So this guy is the one who inspired that generation. The likes of Chris Rock and Kevin Hart. That man is the father. Yes. Thank you very much.
Hello.
good morning. I'm going to talk about Mother Teresa Banana. She existed from 1910 to 1997. And she's the one who started a program of missionary as a charity. Also, she spent most of her life serving in India with the poor kids. And she was also given a title of a saint because she is one of the ladies who stood out more. And also, during her time, she emphasized that we all lived the same life and that okay. So to give a summary, she's called Mother Teresa. Lived from 1910 to 1997, and she said a program of charity funding. And this was simply it is like the organizations. So she said that system where they keep children who are orphans, who have lost their parents or being scattered by wars. She also dedicated her life mostly in India, where she did a lot of work with the needy, with the elderly, and also taught others how to become sisters and how to and actually in general she mentored most of the sisters during her regime to be where they are, and also she earned the title of a saint at that time. Thank you.
Thank you, physical participants, for the submissions. Paul, do we finally have anyone online that wants to share their thoughts? Okay, thank you. There's a story about each of these people in this slide. They did not rise to these levels of success overnight. It took time. I'll start with Mother Teresa, that my brother has just talked about. Being a Catholic saint, she interestingly was from a very well-to-do family, and so she had everything handed to her. But her service in Calcutta, she was in North India at the time, she one night found a lady, a young pregnant lady, in the dark outside on a rainy day, and she was at the point of delivery, but this lady did not have any support. Mother Teresa walked with the lady to the nearest health center for her to be supported for safe delivery. Unfortunately, by the time they got to the facility, all the health workers needed money for the lady to be helped. Fast forward, that mother lost her baby as well as her own life. So from that point, Mother Teresa made up her mind that she was going to create worldwide foundations to protect mothers and babies from vulnerable communities, including orphans and so on. And in Uganda, I think we have two Teresa homes, Mother Teresa homes, dedicated to her as charity. Albert Einstein, we celebrate this guy because I think he's the brain game behind so many weapons of mass destruction. So he brings sanity to the world. We also celebrate him because he was the first inventor of light, no? The light bulb. But when he was a bit younger, one of his teachers told his mother that, you know what, Mom, your child is so dumb, we are unable to accommodate him in our school. And Einstein's mother made up her mind that she was going to educate her child, Albert, from home. So Albert's mom created plenty of room in the garage for him to perform experiments. He ran so many experiments, and that is how he learned. And he's a famous physicist. He's so known in quantum physics, in opus math, and so on. Alika Dangote was orphaned at a young age of about 9, and so he was homeless from when he was little. And because of his desire to want to have a home over his roof, that was his first inspiration to be an entrepreneur. His first major jump was in the real estate industry and owning commercial plazas. He moved on to other industries like petroleum, mining, oil and gas, education, and there's an Alika Dangote Foundation that is actually fully functional in different countries, not just in Nigeria where he's from, but even elsewhere. And so I think his net worth is coming to $25,000 billion now globally. So it's not just recognized in Africa, but elsewhere in the world. You've already talked about Steve Jobs. This man was the brain behind the Apple products. He completely revolutionized the tech savviness and how we appreciate technology. And some companies unfortunately lost business from this point on. You remember products like the Nokia, the Motorola, Alcatel, Ericsson. These products, I think, were the button phones. We now have the touch sensitivity of mobile phones. And this guy was the first, entry point. Of course, other people took on from there, but he was the first to do that. This lady, Milola, fighting for the rights of the girl child in Pakistan, for the girl child to have exposure to formal education, where they were denied that, even as recently as 2020, 2021. Now, there are more opportunities open to Pakistani ladies. Hussein Bolt, you've already talked about him. When he was a bit younger, starting out his career as a sprinter, his first major coach told him, you know what, you might not be fast enough to run. Why he made that comment? Bolt had struggled a bit with his right leg from polio, but Hussein Bolt really desired to run. And so he looked for a different coach, running for a different agency. What we see now is the acclaimed and recognized Olympic gold medalist over the years. I think some books are talking about him as fast as a cheetah. I can't even run as fast as a chicken. So how can I run as fast as a chicken? If I'm to chase a chicken, it will be the one chasing me instead. So, but yeah. Anyway, what cuts across for all these 21st century mindset gurus? They stood out because they made up their mind. They didn't want to stay in their current circumstances. They wanted to thrive. They wanted to move ahead. You also can earn your space and join these people and thrive in your area. But that doesn't come easily. It takes a lot of work. I think about 40 years ago, we did not know of Alika Dangote. We only learned about him, I don't know, more recently, like in the early 2020s, 2015, around there. Before then, we probably did not know. Madam President, you're welcome. Do you know our guild president? Yeah, good for us. Today we have her. So I think I've told you about the video that they're going to take. I think they would also love to interview you a bit, like just some few questions right now. They're first going to take a video of you as you engage with the students, then you can ask a few questions. That's okay. Okay, thank you. Jesus. Paul, are you guys still there? Today our friends online, you've overslept. Okay, because because we are talking about learning to learn and the fact that it's a journey, it's not short of challenges. So, as we wait for you to be internationally recognized, you're well known for the things that you're good at, the things that you can do. We see the final product. We see you as the Olympic gold medalist that you are. We see you as the icon in the movie industry. We see you as a prolific writer. We see you as a top person in your field. Sorry, sir. But behind the scenes, so much is unseen. So much goes on. There's a lot of work that you put in. You dedicate time, you dedicate effort, you dedicate a lot of your, sometimes, by the way, you have to let go of your friends. Do you know that success is also in many ways a contribution from the friends that you have? Yeah, so look at your neighbor. Is that person helping you succeed? If you're not sure this person is enabling you to succeed, then you might need to get new friends. Yeah, but I'm open to making new friends, so you're welcome to be my friend. In terms of hard work, of course, hard work is not something that we can measure in one day. It's tiny little incremental steps you make over time. And hard work is seen with results. You see, how will we know you actually put in a lot of effort to earn your CGPA? You'll dedicate time. You'll put in a lot of hard work. Hard work in terms of the experiments you will run, the number of times you will discuss with your friends, the simulation sessions you will participate in, discussion forums, visiting the library. No one is going to ask you how often did you go to KFC? How much did you spend while you were there? You worked hard at it, but do we really need to know? Maybe not so much. Some habits, such as managing your time effectively, those ones will also help us to know if you really deserve the award, the accolade. Obviously, you're going to get disappointed. The people that we've seen in this slide before, they got disappointed along the way. For you to be a Grammy Award winner, to have won the Oscars, of course you don't get there every day. Sometimes you may not win, but there'll be times you will win. And so you're going to get disappointed every once in a while. You might put in a lot of work and then you earn your degree. 4 years later, after your graduation, you still are not gainfully employed. So you'll get disappointed. But alhamdulillah, your time will come. Don't worry, it is well. Sacrifice in terms of time, in terms of effort, in terms of so many things. You might need to stay away from your family every once in a while, especially for you that are international students. Being away from home is a very huge sacrifice, but it's part of the journey. It's part of the growing curve. You will fail. Naturally, that's part of it. You're not going to succeed every endeavor. Some of them will be failed projects. Albert Einstein, after running all those 1,000 failed experiments, he could have given up and said, this is probably not working. I'm sure Steve Jobs had so many prototypes of the Apple products which had gaps, and they needed to go back and refine them, make them better, improve them, polish them, and so on. But he did not give up. Even the one they launched was a dummy, but it wasn't complete. For people who are in the movie industry, you have, you're welcome, President. You take so many trials.
Just like that. The cinema is over.
I was was talking about failure and the fact that there are going to be so many failed endeavors on your way to success. And we were referring to Steve Jobs. Not all the prototypes worked. I'm sure he had to go back, do some revisions, revisit some of the research, consult with experts, interrogate a little bit more, ask the questions differently, and so on. Until finally now, I think we are at iPhone 17, just 16 or Pro Max. Okay? And even after years of the death of this man, his products are continuing to come out. In fact, better versions of the product keep coming up. Mhm. People in the creative arts, I think these are the ones that struggle the most because failure is part of the journey. You fail and fail and fail and fail until the one time you win, you feel like that's not even enough. You have to win and win and win and win. But part of winning comes with failing. Persistence, of course, goes alongside with resilience. It's sometimes even traumatic. People even end up in mental rehabilitation. You get depressed. You feel like you want to commit suicide because it's too much work for you to succeed. And it's tiny little incremental steps that you put in every single day, not just once, not twice, but every day. In fact, every minute moves you towards the success. Okay, so now this specific one, for the next slide, I picked it out because it could be very helpful in pointing you towards your learning experience. What are some of the key things you could do for your learning experience to be more robust, strong, well appreciated by you, so that you also get to appreciate the result? Some of it is indirect, some of it is direct. You will do a bit of experimenting, you will do a bit of individual study and collaborating, but all of them are an intersection. And I would like to say that the learning experience doesn't have only one way for you to succeed. So it's okay for you to work on your success as a student or in any endeavor, not just as a student. Use multiple approaches. Use multiple approaches for you to succeed. Also, get to understand yourself a little bit more. I've visited the library severally, and sometimes when I'm observing students, I find students with earphones or pods in their ears, but they are reading, they've been making notes, and I'm wondering, so exactly what are you paying attention to? The book or the music? So why are they there in your ears? Oh, really? Oh, I've never thought about it like that. And then there are interesting times when there are students with a book, they actually have a book, and they have a pen in one of their hands, and they are moving their head, even closing their eyes. So you're wondering, what are you paying attention to? The content in the book or what you're listening to? I'm not sure which one. But perhaps that's one way for you to learn. You learn in the book as you listen to the music. The lyrics maybe help you to remember. I'm not sure I would work with that approach, but perhaps it works for you. Now, because of the multiplicity of ways that we can learn, expose yourself to all of them so that you get to appreciate which one works better for me. Do I learn better when I go for discussion forums, when I collaborate with my friends on a project, when I work with a team on a problem and we solve it together, when I go out to the field and do a field trip, when I participate in a discussion forum, when I go for a debate, when I ask questions, when I consult with an expert, all those are avenues for you to learn. So explore as many as possible. That way, you get to realize which one works better for you. There's no harm in figuring things out. And you might find that even for different subjects, you learn better in different ways. For math, you learn better when you experiment. For physics, you learn better when you work in a team. For, I don't know, for software engineering, you learn better when you're in a laboratory, etc. Now, this one, as I come towards the climax, what is it that we can do to harness the growth mindset for learning? Please note that where we started, Carol Dweck emphasized that none of us is born with a magical brain. However, there's always opportunity for us to grow it and harness it and improve it. And that means it has to be very deliberate. I also intentionally asked you the question, what is your strong desire for wanting to learn? Are you bored at your home? You're here to spend a bit of time. You have a lot of money. You're looking to where to invest. Are you looking for friends? Are you looking for, what is it that is driving you to learn? That strong desire to learn perhaps is to do with some of these things. Recognize that in learning, you may not know how to do it, but if you give it time, you can learn how to do it. Do we have any drivers in the house? People who know how to drive? What is the first, in your experience, what was the first rule you learned about driving?
First thing I was told, don't put the key in if you're going to use it.
Okay, don't ignite the engine before wearing a seatbelt. Sir? Pardon?
The first one,
Yes.
the first one, you enter into the key, then immediately after opening, before doing any other thing, step on your brake, put, then after you put on the seat belt, then from the seat belt, and now lower the brake, and you start the gears.
Okay. So don't engage a gear if your leg is not on the brake because you're not sure which current gear is mounted in the car. So it could easily reverse or it could forward when you're not ready to drive. Other drivers, a female driver this time. Someone online? Yes, Jim.
I think the first rule for a driver before you enter your car, you have to check because sometimes when we park a car in a parking or in the village or in our place, there are little kids that can enter in the car or a goat. So the first rule as I went that time I was learning driving, have first to check your car behind down there if there is something before you enter.
Okay, thank you so much, Jim. Yours is that you inspect the car. Do some diligence on the car before you begin to drive. So, in many ways, the driving experience can be quite daunting, especially if you are a first time driver. And so, the tendency to feel nervous and to panic even before you step into the car is natural. Mhm. So, your instructor sometimes could be your biggest supporter to guide you to enjoy the driving experience. Sometimes they'll tell you, please open the bonnet of your car, check the water levels in the car, make sure that there is oil, make sure that there's no challenge in there. Move around the car, look at all the tires, make sure that they are well mounted, that there's pressure in the tires before you begin to drive. Get inside the car, observe all the mirrors on all sides of the car, including the rear mirror, to know that they are fully functional. If there is dust on any of the mirrors, dust it off so that you have good vision before you start to drive. Our friends have told us about the igniting of the engine, and now you're going to start to drive. Now, that's if you're driving from home. What if you're driving on an actual road? This one is a bit more traumatic. As a first-time driver, the first experience, you feel like everyone is moving towards you to knock you. Sometimes you even tend to feel like the road is too narrow. It's not enough for you, and you cannot balance cars coming from the left or from the right as you drive. You even feel like everyone is deliberately moving inside, like um, they're not giving you sufficient space to drive. Now, in the case of Uganda, where we have very dramatic border guys, you feel like they're driving inside your car. And so the pressure is really strong. In fact, it gets worse when the ones behind you begin to hoot. You feel like you've made an error. Unfortunately, if there is a huge car right behind you, a Sino truck, you even feel like now this is it. I better say my final prayers, I'm going to definitely die. But over time, the more you engage in driving, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, some things come naturally to you. You can even start driving without checking the mirrors, without fastening the seatbelt, without checking if there's water and oil in the car, and you will successfully get to your destination. But the first time you drive, you feel like, oh my God, if there's no water in this car, that is it, I'm done. If I don't check the oil, I'm definitely going to crash. You feel like you in fact, sometimes it's even interesting when you're driving that you don't care if there are border guys on the road. You feel like you're the only one on the road. If you knock them, if you don't knock them, well, yeah, because you've done a lot of driving and it has become so natural to you. As a first-time driver, your focus is so strong on the wheel. You're holding the wheel, you're about to break it. You're holding it too tightly. You hold it too tightly that even when you see your friend walking on the road, you cannot remove your eyes from the wheel. You're facing the where you're going. You cannot even remove your hand and say hi. You keep your hands on the wheel, isn't it? Naturally, that will happen. But when you do it so many times, 10 years, 20 years, you even have the liberty of removing one hand, holding your phone, making a phone call, putting your hand over um, the what? The window. If it is down, you can even begin to have conversations with your friend across the road. Hi, please buy me a Rolex, I'm coming. All that happens because you've given it a lot of time. Learning happens exactly like that. The more you do something, the more you familiarize yourself with it, the more you get better at it, and eventually it even becomes fun. You enjoy to do it. That doesn't, however, mean you're not prone to error. After 20 years of driving, you can actually get involved in an accident, not so? Yeah, you can actually even lose your life if it's so bad. And yet you've been driving for a whole 20 years. What happened along the way? You could have missed a bit of some critical things. Anyway, what really I'm trying to say are all these things combined together. I was trying to talk about the fact that you can improve as you go along the way, challenge yourself every once in a while. Actually, every opportunity you are exposed to gives you a chance to learn. You can learn as you take a walk on the street. You can learn while you're in the market. You can learn while you're in an open space, in a public vehicle, taking public transport to town. All those are learning opportunities. So allow yourself the opportunity to learn. Do not restrict yourself from learning. Whereas we are too quick to judge the people around us as being more successful than others, learn to pat yourself on the shoulder. Give yourself some credit. You put in a lot of work. You deserve to be recognized. So clap for yourself. Actually, right now, clap for yourself for doing well. My brother, you're also clapping for yourself. Are you sure, sir? Why are you clapping for yourself? Okay? The brain, like any muscle, grows. And the more effort you invest in it, the bigger it grows, the more it expands, the more it's willing to soak in. It's like a sponge. When you dip it in water, it has the absorption capacity, so it can soak. The human brain can also soak in anything. Naturally, in any learning endeavor, you might make a mistake. Like driving, you might knock a border guy, you might scratch your car, you might get involved in a mini accident. Those mistakes are permissible, but don't be a chronic person that makes mistakes again and again. Learn from the mistakes and do better. Okay? We are not devoid of challenges. Of course, you're going to be challenged, but use the challenges as opportunities to succeed. Of course, you need to be resilient and persevere all along the way, and this never stops all the way to your graveyard. I've never been to heaven, but I think even in heaven, you want to succeed, right? But succeed and become what? I don't know what happens. I've never been there, and I'm not in a rush. I'm not in a rush. Learn to learn from others. We talked about thinking about the success stories of other people to motivate you to do better yourself. Um, what will you gain from having the growth mindset? You can be motivated, you can improve, we can narrow the gender and racial achievement gap, we can neutralize the stereotype threat that maybe Asians are good in the STEM subjects, science, technology, engineering, and math. Africans can also be good at those, or that girls are better at certain subjects than boys. The mindset can change that. We can be persistent, we can embrace challenges, we can lower dropout rates, we can improve happiness. And overall, what that does is that it enables us to improve our happiness and satisfaction. Now, the growth mindset, we are insisting so much on it because it has multiple advantages. These multiple advantages, you can relate them to your daily living. The desire to learn. You don't need to feel coerced like it's a punishment for you to learn things. It's for your own good, actually. You can improve your overall wellness by desiring to learn. You know that progress will take time. You're not going to be good at things in one day, but it gets better. Like that athlete we talked about earlier, I think Usain Bolt has been harnessing his capacity to run from when he was 14 years old. I think right now he's about 64. How old is he? No, I don't think he's 40. He must be older. Please check online. How old is he? 69. 38. Only 38. Oh. Oh no, but people who play sports are always and forever 18 years old. Then they never get old. It's okay for us to ask for help, and there's so many ways for you to ask for help. Consult with a friend, check in with an expert who knows how to do what you want to do. Get into a community of people who are doing what you're doing. And right now, in the digital age, it's really easy. People have WhatsApp communities, people have virtual communities, people can interact together and help hold one another and support each other in different areas, be inspired by others. But I don't like how people idolize successful people. It's like as if they know everything, but they're also just as human as we are, and therefore they are prone to error. It's okay for us to fail because failing is part of the growing process for us to eventually succeed. Expose yourself to new challenges. Again, that's also an avenue for you to keep on growing and improving. Use mistakes as opportunities to grow, and then put in effort. It's not handed to you. I've seen how increasingly in many parts of Europe and now coming to Latin America and Asia, more and more young people, especially from high school, junior high, and advanced high school, just before college, a lot of the young people, young generation, Generation Alpha, they like to join the movie industry and sports. They feel like that's where success is. And I don't negate, it's true. But then, aren't there other avenues for you to be successful outside sports? So a lot of them drop out of school, abandon school, and then they enroll in a major league, or maybe first of all get trained a little bit for like 2 or 3 years, and then now begin hunting for which club to play for. After 10 whole years, there's no progress. And by that time, you don't feel like you want to go back to school because you abandoned school when you were in high school. Learning from feedback, and then you keep trying until you succeed. So it's really an ongoing process. It doesn't have a start or stop date. Okay, so now I have this little demo. I picked it up and I thought it speaks strongly to put everything we've been interacting with about the mindset in sharp focus for us to reflect in any endeavor I want to achieve in life. What are some of the things that I need to be aware of, and what can I do about it? So, my friends online, in case there's an interference with the volume on your end, I apologize for that, but I've taken the time to upload this same video online on Planet so that you can take a look at it later in your free time. Okay, so that's really about the mindset. And I would like to pause a little in case you have any comments you want to make. No comments? Are you still in shock? Are you still in shock? Okay, let me do the second demo. Then I can give you the opportunity to go and breathe. that is a beautiful wrap up. You learn by failing, you learn by trying again and again, you learn by keeping it um, tiny little steps, one day at a time. I kindly request stop screen sharing this so that I come back and in case anyone has a question, how would be a good time for us to talk about it? My amazing friends online, you've been awfully quiet today. Now, next week is phase one of Judgment Day because we are going to do the first set of the assessment. I know that the academic registrar has already sent you an email regarding what we are going to do next week, but I want to give you some very pertinent information that will be helpful for you. Let's give our friends on the phones an opportunity to talk to their loved ones.